Have you guys been able to sense a theme yet in my videos? Stay tuned. All right, so today I am giving you 5 great springtime office scents. I have been like in the middle of, I just started a new job like a week and a half ago, and I was job hunting for a month before that. So that's where my head has been, and when I'm thinking about making videos, that's the stuff that's coming to me. And even though I work remotely, I do kind of wish to get back into the office at some point and test these out, because I think these would be some pretty great scents for the office. I also wanted to say I had 10 originally, and I dropped it down to 5, partially because I was just looking at some of the metrics, and hardly anyone stays to the end, especially in those longer videos. So I'm kind of testing this to see if maybe more people hang around if it's a little bit of a shorter video. And then the only other thing that I would mention is that these are not in any particular order. I might save some of my favorites for the last couple, but yeah, these are all great scents. I love them all. So let's start off first with one that I think gets a decent amount of love, and I think it's warranted, and that's Hugo Boss Reversed. This one is, it's a synthetic but not cheap smelling citrus fragrance. I've seen people compare this to Elysium from Raja Parfums. I don't really get too much of that, except in like, they're both citrus heavy. I think they smell pretty distinct, though I think if you wanted to, you could kind of say that Reversed is like maybe sort of a fictional flanker to Elysium. That being said, this is actually one of the earliest pickups that I got when I started collecting, and immediately was like, wow, that's so good. And it still is. Like, I think this is still one of my favorites, especially when it comes to spring and summertime. It's so bright, fresh, it's sweet. Like I said, it doesn't smell natural, it smells synthetic, but not in an off-putting way. It doesn't smell cheap, it doesn't smell super fake, it just doesn't smell like a real citrus. It smells like kind of a, I think I even said this before, but when I just thought of it again, it smells like a cyber fruit. Like, this smells like some sort of a fruit that I've never encountered before from the future. A really, really great scent. If you haven't gotten a hold of it, it's got some nice vetiver in there too, I think, that kind of helps ground it. I think I've mentioned that before as using vetiver as a grounding note, but it does kind of seem to be the foundation for this. Oh, it's a great scent. Oh, it's a great, great scent. Seriously, if you haven't, you should pick up Hugo Reversed. It's unique, and for the price, which you can probably get this for 30 bucks or under, it's a great one to have in your collection if you don't already. So check it out. All right, next up is a clone, but it's one that has kind of died off on the hype train, but I think it's still worth it if you don't have it already, and that's from Armaf Club de Nuit Sillage. And this is their clone of Silver Mountain Water, I believe, from Creed. And I have done a side-by-side comparison with this because I do have a Discovery set from Creed. So I've compared this and Millésime Imperial and Aventus with the corresponding Club de Nuit. And they're really, really good. The quality is outstanding with these, as I think it's mentioned when this came out a few years ago. But people aren't talking about it as much anymore, I think because everyone who cared about it then has it. But this one also smells high quality, even though I'm sure it's a lot of synthetics. It's just very refreshing. Again, this one great for the office because it kind of has a little bit of a mature thing. It's not overly sweet, but it is zingy. It is bright, clean, all the things that you would expect from something that is cloning something named Silver Mountain Water. I think Silver Mountain Water is a great description of this, honestly, because it just does feel kind of icy. Not in the way that like Hermes Eau Givrée does, because I think Eau Givrée actually gives you a cooling sensation with it. I said sensation really weird there. This doesn't really have that as much, but it is really, really beautiful. And this one also lasts a really good time. For being a citrus fragrance, I would expect this one to fly off a little bit longer, but it lasts for, I don't know, 4 or 5 hours for me. Pretty good, all things considered. The performance on this thing is pretty good. So I know that there are a bunch of new Club de Nuits that are getting all hyped, but honestly, I think Sillage is better than a lot of the, at least it's better than a lot of the things that they're cloning. I can't say because I haven't smelled like their clone of Bleu de Chanel and stuff like that, but I prefer when Armaf is cloning more expensive stuff that's harder to attain. And when they're doing a bang up job like this, I don't think anyone who smells this, who is familiar with Silver Mountain water, would not recognize it as Mountain Silver water. I think they would probably go, oh yeah, you're wearing Silver Mountain water. Great scent. Okay, next up, a hit from last year's summer that people talked about very briefly is CK1 Reflections. This one's great. I've bought a bunch of the CK1 fragrances and found them to be kind of fair to middling. This one to me is a lot better than a lot of the other ones. Maybe better than all of them, I think, for me. So this to me is kind of akin to a vintage 78 or 78 vintage green, sorry, by Banana Republic. Kind of got that watery green tea sort of thing going on. This makes it a little bit sweeter. And I feel like it has like maybe some sort of an orange or a mandarin or something like that. That's kind of punching up some sort of citrus up there. I wouldn't be surprised if it's like lemon. I can't remember the exact notes, but it's a citrus. To me, it comes across as like orangey. That's really nice. This one may be slightly more feminine if you care deeply about that. I think it's totally unisex, but I think women might like it slightly more just because it's a little bit, the sweetness mixed with the citruses, I feel like kind of takes it to that level where people would traditionally consider this to be a feminine fragrance. You know what it actually kind of smells like is like sweet tarts, or like, you know, those like candy necklace, you know, like those like hard candies. That kind of, there's kind of an aspect to that. The sweetness, I feel like I'm like it's a note of that candy necklace that provides the sweetness to this. This is really great if you really like 78 vintage green but have had a hard time finding it because it seems to be harder and harder to track down these days without paying too much money. This is something worth checking out, I think. It's really a great scent. Rounding out the top 5 with number 2 is my battered bottle from Paris Corner's Emir line. This is Cedrat Essence. This is their clone of Cedrat Boisé, which I assume most people probably have. I actually don't have it. And the reason why is because I bought this just kind of curious. I bought this just kind of curious what the DNA was like for Cedrat Boisé and wanted to see if I would like it. And then after I got this, I got a sample just to see how they compared. And I found that I like this more than Cedrat Boisé. So Cedrat Boisé, like to me, has the similar notes, but it goes much more into the boisé, more of the woods than this does. This to me pretty much sticks with that kind of creamy lemony opening for pretty much the whole thing for me. It doesn't really change a whole lot, but for me, I actually prefer that. When I smelled the Mancera, I was kind of like, oh man, I kind of wish that it dialed down the woods and really kind of leaned into the citrus opening that it has, because it's just so good in the Paris Corner. And I maintain that. I really like this one a lot. I will just go and grab this one and spray it on because it's one of those just pleasant scents that you can wear all the time. I do think, like a lot of other Paris Corners, that it is not an exact match, like I mentioned, to its original, but I think it's doing an interesting twist on it that I actually, in this case, not in the other cases that I have of Paris Corners, but in this case, I actually like it more than the original. With some of the other Paris Corners, I like them for their own thing, like their clone of Tobacco Mandarin. But this one in particular, the opening just smells so good, so pleasant. You just kind of want to wrap up in it. And in the air, it's just this like really appealing scent. So great for an office. So yeah, and also like you can get it for like, I don't know, 30 or 40 bucks, fairly cheap. I know the Mancera is only like 70, but if you're like me and you actually realize that you prefer the opening and not so much of the dry down with Cedrat Boisé, this may be something to look at because it's really, really good. Check it out. I can't really talk about spring or summer without talking about Acqua de Parma. And one of the ones that I picked up from them recently that I've been wearing a lot is Mirto di Paneria, and I'm sure I'm not saying that correctly. This one, when I first got it, it was not like everything that I'd hoped it would be. I kind of blind bought this one. Even though I have a discovery set with it, I forgot that it was in there. And it was at a good enough deal where I was like, screw it, I'll get it. And I smelled it and I was like, not as good as Fico, not as good as Bergamoto di Calibri. but it's interesting and it's doing something, and I don't want to judge it too quickly because I happen to, I find often that I wear stuff, and the more I wear it, the more I kind of discover things about it that I like. And that was the case with this one. I think the easy way to describe this for me is this smells like some sort of laundry soap that you've never smelled before. It doesn't smell super soapy, but there's something about it, the fresh greenness that to me comes across as like notes that would be in laundry detergent. That being said, it doesn't smell cheap. None of the things I have here smell cheap. None of them smell bad. This smells really clean, like clean as in doesn't have a whole lot of like screechy notes, nothing that's like punching you in the face. It's just kind of a soft green fragrance, kind of watery notes, things in there, but overall very enjoyable. And I do find that the more I wear it, the more I smell it, the more I want to smell it. In the air, like everything else, because you're thinking about this in an office setting, in the air you want something that's going to be, you know, pleasant, but it's not going to be too abrasive. It's not going to stick around too much. Something like red tobacco from Panerea I think is kind of on the other end of the spectrum. That's not really a safe office fragrance in my opinion, because it is so strong that you're certainly going to piss someone off. I don't think anyone's going to get pissed off with this. This is just such it's like there's rosemary in here too or something. Like, I need to look that up, but I feel like there's rosemary in here. It just kind of comes across as that green herbaceous sort of scent with like watery notes to it as well. That makes it kind of refreshing. Great for spring, great for summer. I don't know, I haven't really tried this one in the winter, really. I just picked this up recently, but yeah, I would probably stick to spring and summer with this, as you'd kind of expect with Acqua di Parma. A little bit warmer weather is going to help this one sing a little bit more, but it is beautiful. It is a truly beautiful scent. It's not the first thing I would buy from Acqua di Parma. If you don't have anything from the house, I think Fico di Amalfi is a must own. But if you're looking to explore more from the house, I say get the Discovery set that Joma Shop has, because it's got like 12 fragrances in it. This is among them, and you can check it out and see if this is something that you would be into. I will say, I think it isn't as strong as some of the other ones when you first smell it, but I also think that the more you smell it, the more it starts to appeal to you. So this one, maybe a little bit more of an acquired taste, but it is one that I am finding I quite like a bit, and quite a bit more than when I first smelled it. So yeah, if you haven't gotten your nose on it, or if you have, let me know what you think. Mirto de Paneria, which I'm butchering, but them's the breaks. All right, so kind of a short one here today, I hope. Just trying to give you guys some fun information here. I kind of like doing these little thematic things here and there. If this is something that you're interested in, you want to hear more recommendations in this vein, let me know. I'm sure I'll do one that's summer frags, and I'll have to figure out what the difference is between a spring and a summer frag. But yeah, let me know if this is the kind of thing you guys like, you want more of, and I'll make more episodes. Otherwise, if you have suggestions, in case I do future episodes, let me know in the comments what you like for spring in the office, and yeah, I'll check them out. Otherwise, talk to you next week and have a great day. Bye.